Hello and welcome to Express Drives. I'm Arup and today we have the Volvo XC40 with us. Hang on a minute, wasn't it launched 4 years ago? Oh yes, of course, 4 years ago, meaning this is the facelift or the updated version, right? Actually no, it's not. It is the all-electric Volvo XC40 Recharge. Now this is going to be Volvo's first all-electric vehicle for India. It was supposed to be launched last year, but of course due to the pandemic, the launch was delayed. Now Volvo hasn't officially revealed the prices, but the way it's placed in the international market, it is expected to be a little bit more expensive than its ICE or internal combustion engine variants. Now Volvo has an extremely ambitious plan. By 2040, they want to be a carbon neutral company, and they believe that in India, they can achieve it much faster. Volvo has already started the phasing out movement of the ICE or internal combustion engines. That's the reason why they don't sell diesel engines in India. Well, the XC40 Recharge is going to write a brand new green chapter in Volvo's history in India. But is it going to be a viable option when you compare it to its petrol variant? Well, that's what we are going to find out. With a lack of an internal combustion engine, this compact SUV offers additional storage. Now, the bonnet, which traditionally houses an engine, well, now it gets an additional storage or a 30-liter boot space. Now, it's not a massive storage, but yes, you can put a lot of little things that's required. Not really an overnighter bag you can keep, but for easier access, the best thing you can do is put all your charging cords here. So that is a very practical aspect of this car. And we'll also check out what the rear boot is all about. As we mentioned earlier, the rear boot capacity of the XC40 Recharge is quite impressive. Why don't we just take a look at it rather than me talking about it? So you give it a gentle kick and, well, it does work, honestly. Finally, it did open. It does work. I'm guessing I'm getting it wrong, but it does work. And you can see that it has 452 liters of boot space right here. That's just 8 liters less than its petrol sibling. But then you got to keep in mind that it also has a front space underneath the bonnet. That's 30 liters. So all in all, it actually offers more space than the petrol sibling. Another smart touch that this car offers is that it has versatile compartmentalized luggage space. Now over here you can just fold the boot or the floor here, and you actually have quite decent depth here. So like if you're into plants or something, you can keep a plant right here. And at the same time you can segregate the space and you can keep your grocery bags or whatever little knickknacks that you have. And if you don't want it, you can again just flatten it out and you have the entire space. So we've stepped inside the cabin of the XC40 Recharge, and it's like a typical Volvo, extremely well built, it's luxurious, it's very difficult to find a flaw. You can see the dashboard here, it looks solid plastic, but it actually has soft touch material. Again, very impressive here. And it has this funky looking insert right here. It actually does look good, doesn't look tacky at all. You also get that same sort of insert on the door panels in the side. It's very classy, honestly speaking. Now Volvo always had comfortable seats, and the XC40 is no different. It's extremely well contoured. The lower back again is very supportive, and even the seat squab, you can adjust it accordingly to your own requirement in comfort. Both the front seats are electrically powered, so it again gives you a lot of versatility right there. And when we talk about luxury, this is a very smart move by Volvo. Everything here, it's got touch button controls, like the additional lights here, or reading lights, it's all touch response. Then even when you have to access the panoramic roof, you can see just a mild touch and it works. The XC40 Recharge is one of the first Volvo vehicles to get a Google-based infotainment system. Now, it is a 9-inch infotainment system and it has a typical vertical display. But more than that, it comes with Google Assistance right here, and you can ask anything like, what's the temperature?
The temperature in Delhi currently is 35 degrees.
If you are lost and you're in a new place, you can always ask, where is the airport?
Showing results for where is the airport.
And there you have all the different terminals available right there. Now the first thing that you see here is that it's got a very clean display. It can be easily used, and of course it is very responsive. At the same time, it's very intuitive, and so it gives you a very friendly and user-friendly display. But when you go for settings over here, that is when things become a little bit more complicated, because you have so many options right here, but they're not that easy to read when you are driving. So we suggest that you park your car on one side of the road and go through it diligently, because we would have preferred if they had widgets or if they had icons. It's just so much more easier. You can actually use your muscle memory and you'll know exactly where what is. But in this case, you got to go much more in details. So we can start off by with the driving dynamics. Over here you can see it's got an off-road mode. Now it's got an off-road mode because it is actually a four-wheel drive vehicle. So it gives you that option right here. If you are just commuting, then of course you don't need this. Then you have all the safety assistance that we all expect from Volvo. Lane keeping assistance, so all the regular stuff is all here. You can activate it or not, it's up to you. But coming down here, driving dynamics, now these two are a little bit more important, because the steering feel firm, this is where you can increase the heft or the weight of the steering wheel if you need it. So over here, the one pedal drive, we'll get into that a little bit more in details when we talk about the driving dynamics of the car itself. But yeah, it's about the regenerating system for the battery. Then you also have the 360-degree camera. Now this is extremely important because it's practical and it's convenient. It will show you if there's somebody walking down, or if there's an incoming car behind you, sneaking up behind you, so you know your entire surroundings, and it just makes it a lot more easier and a lot more comfortable to park or just move around. Now, so you have two Type-C USB ports right here, and surprise, you actually get a lighter. Now this is something that is quite rare, but you do have it, and if you don't use it or if you don't smoke, well, that's a 12-volt socket right there. Either which is whatever catches your fancy. You have obviously a wireless phone charger, and if you have two phones and one phone is charging right there on the pad, you have another place right here and you can just keep it. It's like a holder, it can double up as a holder. According to your convenience, you can use it. Now let's move on to the 12.3 instrument cluster. It's all digital cluster. Volvo has kept it very simple so that it is easy to use, easy to read rather. It's not something that is imposing while you're driving. There's this button right here, you can click on it, and there you have that virtual navigation map right there. Again, it's not something that will catch your eye or divert your attention, nothing of that sort. And of course it has the regular information like your battery capacity, kilometers, the speed, and so on, even the gear options right there. So before we find out how it is inside for the rear passengers, let's just look at how wide the door opens, or maybe not so wide. It could have been a little bit more wider. Of course, you can easily walk in, but you're just so used to doors opening a little bit more wider. But apart from that, if you look at it here, you have this additional bottle holder or a storage. So you can keep a 1 liter bottle right here. So the rear space is quite spacious. You can see there's plenty of knee room. Headroom is not compromised at all. You have this massive panoramic sunroof, but it doesn't eat into the headroom at all. The shoulder room is good only if there are two adults sitting. I would honestly not even recommend a child sitting in the middle, because you can see this floor, it's so raised in the middle that the central tunnel is so pronounced, so it's not gonna do any favors in terms of leg room. But yeah, if there are two adults sitting in the back, there is just a lot of space. You also have your connectivity right here. You've got the two Type-C USB ports. Then of course you have your AC vents. Everything is vertical, the AC vents. Very stylish also. Before we get into how this car handles, what's the power like, this car actually has a very smart feature, and it's a keyless feature. Now you're gonna say, what's so great about a keyless feature, because almost every car nowadays gets one. Well, this literally has a keyless feature. It doesn't come with a start stop ignition button. All you have to do is just sit on the driver's seat, buckle up, and the car is ready to drive. Now, coming to a bit of the figures, what's this car all about? Well, it is powered by a massive 78 kilowatt hour battery, and more impressively, it churns out 402 bhp. Now that is a lot of power. So don't be deceived by its docile looks, not at all. It has a lot of power. It does 0 to 100 in less than 5 seconds. According to Volvo, it's 4.9 seconds. It's powered by two motors, one motor on each axle. So again, that is roughly 201 bhp from each motor. Again, a lot of power. And when you drive this car, when you step on the accelerator, so the accelerator is a bit on the heavier side, the pedal, but if you want to step on it, it really picks up speed like no one's business. You gotta actually watch out for speed guns. It is that fast. It'll just throw you back into the seat. That whiplash effect is very, very prominent, so one has to be a bit careful on that front. The question always arises with EVs is, what is the range? Now, according to Volvo, this car offers around 418 kilometers, and that is quite impressive. And when you converted that into real world conditions, and according to what the onboard computer was showing us, the approximate was around 350 kilometers. But again, you have to keep in mind that the battery capacity was down to almost 75%. So even if it was like on full capacity, we expect it to be around 380 kilometers. Now that is very, very impressive. But here, as they've stuck to whatever you need, you have total power over it, total control over it. We like that little simplicity feature right there. Like all EVs, it's all about conserving energy, and with the regenerating system, you can just use the one pedal system, and it helps you to provide that additional energy that you miss out in when you deaccelerate on the pedal. That energy goes to the battery, so it gets that additional charging system. Now when it comes to that one pedal system, you just deaccelerate and the car itself slows down. It is something that you have to get used to it, of course. Initially you do find it a bit annoying, but it automatically slows down. It helps you to save a lot of energy. So it's like a win-win situation, especially when you are driving in the city or when you are more so combating bumper to bumper traffic. When it comes to the battery charging, the XC40 Recharge is actually one of the fastest in the business. If you use the DC fast charger, it charges from empty to 80% in mere 40 minutes. Now that is really good. So the DC charge has a capacity of around 150 kilowatts, so that's the reason why it is really fast. But then if you opt for the standard charger, the 11 kilowatt ones, well, then it takes around 8 to 9 hours. So basically you just drive home after a long day's work, plug it in, and overnight it is full. So how does the car handle and ride? Because the Volvo XC40, the petrol version, has always been a very good handler, but now with such a big, massive battery, definitely the weight has increased. But the surprising part is it really hasn't hampered its handling capabilities. It enters and exits corners quite comfortably, and because it is an all-wheel drive, it offers plenty of grip. You are confident when you're attacking corners, and at the same time it remains stable. It's also predictable, which is a good thing. The ride quality, on the other hand, the suspension setup is on the firmer side. If you're like driving on flat roads, fairly even tarmac, then you will not feel any issues. You know, the ride quality is perfectly fine. It is comfortable even for the back passengers, the rear passengers. But if you hit bad roads, broken roads, and you hit potholes, that is when the ride quality goes for a toss. You feel the thud very pronounced, and it can be a bit jarring as well. So you win some, you lose some, and really it's not a deal breaker as such. So after driving the XC40 Recharge, there are a lot of positive things. And the first thing that we'll talk about is the little bit of the exteriors part, because that is something that we purposely didn't mention. Now, the major differences between the XC40 Recharge and the petrol version is the front grille. Obviously, the EVs, all of them have a different grille. It's all covered. So that's the same thing with the Recharge as well. And it comes with new 19-inch diamond cut wheels. So apart from that, how is the car? Is it a viable option? Now, we mentioned before, Volvo hasn't mentioned the price yet. So that is going to be a major part. But the good thing is, this car doesn't really look like an EV, which is going to work for a lot of people. It looks muscular and it has its own presence at the same time. When it comes to driving dynamics, like the XC40, the petrol version, it is a good handler. Yes, the ride quality could have been a little bit more comfortable, but again, it's not a deal breaker, because then you got to compromise on the handling part. So it is still a very fairly comfortable car. In terms of luxury, this car comes with each and everything. It's a Volvo, so safety is paramount, and it continues to be so. The interiors of the car feels extremely rich, extremely well built. So where does the car go wrong? Actually, that's a very good question, and maybe the price may play a spoiled sport in that factor. So if you're in the market to buy an EV, well, this is quite a viable option. Yes, the price is not out yet, but it is expected to be expensive because this car is powered by 2 motors and it's an all-wheel drive. It's a 4-wheel drive vehicle. So expect it to be a little bit higher on the price, but it's again worth checking out. If you haven't already subscribed our channel, please do so, and like and subscribe our channel, and also click on the bell so that you are always notified with our new upcoming videos.